Shalom guys, I'm back, and as usual I greet you all in the name of our soon coming King Jesus Christ. Alright, so this is part 3 of exposure of the satanic agent. As usual, the Lord always put a scripture in my spirit, and this time it's from Galatians. Yes, Galatians 5 verses 16. Of course, my little journal, and Galatians 5:25. So Galatians 5:16, verse 16 reads, "Walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh." Galatians 5:25 reads, "If we live by the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit." So I know why he said he put this one in my spirit is because if you don't understand spiritual things, or if you don't tap into the spirit, like, take yourself from out of the physical and go into the spirit, you're not gonna understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is gonna become like gibberish to you. You get me? Because a lot of I sense that in my spirit, that a lot of people that are viewing this, watching my videos, maybe thinking I'm crazy. What is she talking about? This don't make no sense. How could your mother do this, that? But let me tell you, a title doesn't have anything to do with who the devil wants to use. Like I said in my previous video, if you give him a doorway, which is legality, to use you, he's gonna use you. And second, I am called by God, anointed and chosen by God to do his work, his will in this end times, because we're living in the end times, whether you like to believe it or not. We're not here for long. Some will die and be buried, some will be raptured, and some will be left behind. That's just the sad truth, whether we like to believe it or not. So we're not here for long, and my purpose is to sound the trumpet for his coming. So to spread the gospel and to tell you my story and to help others that has or is going through what I'm going through and are afraid to speak up, because like I said before, speaking about these things are like taboo, especially back then when I was living in Jamaica. But now you're hearing a lot of people coming out saying things against witches and witchcraft because it's so rampant. And he said in his word that in the last days iniquity shall abound, which is gonna spread, evil, witchcraft. Like now, it's just like the norm now, unfortunately. So what I'm saying to you, it's real, because I experience it. It's my story for his glory. Okay? So this is why he put this in my spirit in Galatians, to walk in the Spirit. Because if you don't understand spiritual things, it's not going to make no form of sense to you. So I urge you to pray before you see. I even pray after, to ask God to open your understanding, open your mind, to receive what I'm about to say, or continue, because it gets worse. It gets worse. So with part 3, here I'm gonna speak about like now my baptism. It's 20 years now to date. I gave my life to the Lord. I had gave my life to the Lord, and in my introductory I told you that I recommitted last year, so I'm now well into a year and a week. Yes, praise be to God. And I never looked back, as opposed to the 19 years ago, yeah. All right, so like when I went to the altar, when the lady Evangelist Grant said, "Yeah, I've been receiving some visions," and I said yes, and I started to cry because they were so real, and I didn't know who to speak to about them. I thought that at the time, speaking that Jesus come to look for me in my visions, like why would Jesus choose to come to see you? And some people probably say Jesus is not real and all those things. So I kept silent until when she said it to me, and she said, you're a messenger, because like I said, I get dreams all the time where people, I see things and they come to pass. So I said, and she said he wants to use me. So okay, I realized that he's calling me and everything. So with the, well, I didn't know I really had lost the child, because what came inside of me was like acting like it was still pregnant, like I was still pregnant. So it was like what you call like a phantom pregnancy, because I don't know if I had said this, but when that thing flew inside my stomach, I remembered I was on the concrete. I was like ceramic tile, and that's the only way I could ease the pain, and I was bleeding out. And when I went to the doctor, she said no, but I felt little, because I think at that time I was like into the 3 months of the pregnancy, like the first trimester. So I felt a little fluttering and everything. So in my head, I thought I was still pregnant, not knowing that spiritually it was like a tadpole, and I never knew that until later on with other pregnancies, when I found that out. So at that time, that was my first pregnancy, and that was the first experience. I was like, okay. So all these crazy things happening it was just right for me to give my life to the Lord. So okay, I did that. Was a friend of mine, so we decided that we're gonna go to this church in Portmore. I won't mention the church's name, and the reason why I won't mention the name, because I thought that they should have done more, like inform like deliverance, because when I went to get baptized, they said, why do you want to get baptized? And I told them that I had a supernatural experience of something flying into my stomach and all that. And the pastor didn't make any urge to say, okay, all right, let's talk about this. Tell me your experience. Nothing. It's all right, but I gave my life to the Lord, and after a couple Sundays, we're going there, attending the church together and everything. And then after a while, that was it. For some reason, I was still visiting the church in Papine Hills there. All right. Then now, it so happened that I had to move from where I was living, and God worked it out that way, that I had to move. I think the place was selling or something like that. So yeah, I had to relocate. And I had a client that told me about where she lives, like you have a half side of the house that was rented, that was vacant. So I said, okay, I'll take it, because I really needed to move from there. Thinking that I was moving from the problem because of the things that was happening at that house, not knowing that the lady came there to plant her demons to taunt me, because I think I mentioned before that I would be inside the house in the night, I hearing Stacy, yeah. And I knew well not to answer. I knew well not to answer, because in my head it's like, those are like demons. Why are they calling me? So in the night at that, so I said, this not seem right. I had to move, so I moved. Back then, sometimes when I hear the voice of God, like when I hear it audible, not too long, because it's just like 2 times back in the past when I heard his audible voice and I hear the spirit. Sometimes I know it's him, and then it's like another time I'm saying a voice talking to me. I'm confused. But I knew I heard in my spirit, wherever you go to live, do not let your mother come there. Now I know it's God, but at the time I wasn't so sure, because in my head, remember, I still didn't know that she was doing all these things, but I know these crazy things happening to me, and I don't know why. So, but I know I heard, wherever you go to live, do not let your mother come there. And believe me, I stood on that, because from then, I never let that woman come to where I used to live. Nope, never. So when I moved at that place now, I was living as off Constant Spring Road. I didn't really, I just kind of cut them off. She tried to reach out, but she tried to reach out like she cared. She was reaching out to monitor me. Yeah. So whatever she's doing, she was trying to check up to see if it's working. I've come to find that out. Alright. So after I'm about to relocate, okay. So in the latter years now, as in, because I said remember 2005, so 7, 8, 9, I don't remember exactly which year, but I know I remember that the husband to be, the child's father, had reached out to me, because even though the Lord said that he's going to be out of my life for a while, we still communicated. No matter what, we still communicate. Yes, sorry about that. It's like my phone was just acting up. So yeah, so I was saying that we still communicated, and his father had passed on, and he told, reached out and told me that, and came to Jamaica for the funeral, and we were there talking and everything. And I remember he asked me if I was really pregnant, because how it happened, anybody would think that probably I was lying. So I said yes, but now this is what the doctor told me. I went to get a different opinion, because yes, and after a while when I realized that I wasn't pregnant, he said that my tubes are blocked. Because if it's a spiritual problem, and they don't even know if it's a spiritual problem, but while some do, and you go to them and they can't see, they're just gonna throw some diagnosis on you. So that's what they did to me, and nothing like that. So I told him, I remember he said, so you can't have kids? I said, yeah, I can't have kids, because once it's too blocked, you can't get it unblocked. And then, he ran a joke. Well, it wasn't really a joke, and it was serious, but he said it. Okay, so then we can try again. I laughed. I said, no, we can't try again, because we weren't trying. And he laughed, and he said, with your looks and my looks, the baby will be very pretty. I said, yeah, that's true. They're chit-chatting, and it's like at that time, now we're trying again to back, but it wasn't the time. Not knowing that the Lord is preventing me. So even today, at my age, I still don't have a child, but he promised me kids, and it's gonna come, because I see them in the spirit. It's because he's protecting me. So believe me, I'm getting there. He's protecting me. So all this time I said maybe I can, have kids, because I wasn't standing on his promises. I was just doing my own thing, because it's like, it's my life, let me do what I want to do. But I wasn't walking in his will. I wasn't being obedient, no nothing. So at that time, yes, God exists, and God, but I still didn't understand certain things, because even then I know she was after me, I still didn't understand why she was after me. So when I got to America and found out my purpose, and then realized how it works with the spirit, because life is spiritual. And I always say life is like 70%, spiritual part of life is 70%, and the physical part, which is like how you see me, how I'm pinching myself and feeling that, 30%, something, it's the spiritual will probably be much greater, and life like barely there. It's physical, but life is spiritual, to be honest. So the spirit is more real than the flesh, guys, whether you like to believe it or not. That's the truth, because we're naturally spiritual beings. Remember, our creator is a spirit. He only came as man to show us how to live and to die for our sins, so we could plead the blood to this date, against the kingdom of darkness. So life is spiritual. And so, back to him now. Where he's concerned, it's gonna end here for now. Not knowing that the Lord is protecting me, because I'm here fighting for my life spiritually. You see me on the outside, all looks well physically, but all is not well. So the spiritual controls the physical, because whatever is going on, the physical has to happen in the spiritual first, right? So it's like I'm constantly on the battlefield, so every day is a warfare for me, and I have to fighting using the word of God to fight back, the attacks and everything that is coming at me. So imagine I'm fighting for my life. If I was married, no, it's gonna happen, but not right now. If I was married, imagine me fighting for that too. If I had a child, imagine me fighting for that too. And when I reached to this part now where he told me to come to the States, I'm gonna tell you what he revealed to me about why I'm not yet a mother, why, yeah, why I don't have a child around me as yet and everything like that. And it's just mind blowing. But God is good. So the delay doesn't mean denial. No, God's words shall stand, and it's gonna come to pass. Whatever He says over your life, even the devil try to come and snatch it away, it shall stand. He shall have the last say. He always has the last say, not the devil. Yes. So now, so yeah, we'll put a pause to him. Come back some other time, not too long from now, to continue the story. Alright, so we're going to when I found out the truth. Guys, I'm sorry, but I have to be recording on my iPad because my phone is acting up. The devil is fighting, doesn't want the truth to get out. But I'm sorry. If it take me how long, I don't know. But the truth is going out because I started it. And the Lord told me, don't let nobody take you off your path. So, yeah. My phone is just not recording and I have storage. So I don't understand. It's just keep telling me that I don't have storage to record, and I've been deleting apps because I pay for extra storage. But anyway, like I was saying, that I remember there are two people I've got. One is a man, one is a woman. I remember that, I was telling my friends what was going on with me, and I went to see this pastor had like a crusade, a nightly crusade going on, and we went there, and it's like, when he saw me, I could sense that he knew what was happening, and he just decided that he wasn't gonna do anything. Yeah, I don't remember what he said, but it's like he kind of dismissed it, but not knowing that they were afraid to take on the case. Anyway, there's another lady now. She's a prophetess. Someone put me onto her to talk to me and everything. And she's like, it never had to do with my mother's situation at the time, to be honest. But man, I didn't know. I just know that I never had a good relationship with my mother. But I didn't know that she was the cause of all my problems. So when I spoke to that lady, whatever we were talking about, she said, but you know what it is. You know what it is already. It's not something that meant to harm you, just to slow you down, about the issue. Then the whole time she kept looking at me. She said, you're bothering my spirit, you're bothering my spirit. I said, I'm bothering your spirit. She said, yeah, you're bothering. And she said, uh, where's your mother? And I told her where she was living at the time. And she said, okay, and then she asked about a part. At the time I was dating someone else. So I told her where he was and things. She said, okay, when I'm done, I'm going to pray for you. So we went into a room. and she was praying. And then she's like, oh my God, this is bigger than me. She said, I'm sorry, I can't take this on, because furthermore, if I deliver you, you're going to go back out there in the world. That's what she said. Say, she said, I see graves upon graves. So in my spirit, I knew, like I heard ancestors, but still didn't understand. But that's what came to me, ancestors. So I know she's like, the generation, I guess, generation curse. That's okay. And she said, I see like a pillar of salt around you. I said, wow. She said, oh, this is bigger than me. I'm sorry, I can't take this on. That was what she said. And I felt hopeless. Honestly, I felt hopeless. I was just depressed, like no help. I cry out to God. I cry out to God. I cry. Listen, them time there, I cry. I said, God, I don't understand what is going on. I'm telling me I get the dream, them, I don't understand. Say, because it's like, I'm gonna think that it's witchcraft is the last thing, especially from my own mother, you know? Why would she do this? What did I do to her? And I was like, God, I don't know. I need help. I need help. So I remember I have this friend living in Spanish Town, and one day she called me, checking up on me. And I was just so heavy. And she asked me, what's up? And I told her how I felt. And she said, no, there's a church over here, this man can help you. She said, come, let me help you. Like, I bring it to him. And I was so desperately needed the help. I went over there, and the man started talking to me and thing. And I didn't have to tell him anything, honestly. And he said that, you shouldn't even be living in Jamaica. You should be living abroad, living a certain life. And you say your finances messed up, and you know who's doing all of these things? Say your mother. You say, you get dreams, but you don't understand it. The Lord has been talking to you through your dreams, showing you, but you don't understand. And then I start look back and I say, hold on, all of this makes sense. All of this, what he's saying, makes sense, because I start putting one on one and two together, everything. I said, wow. So he opened my eyes more. He said, the Lord want to use you. You're gonna be working for the Lord. You get in a fight from your own mother. So the devil tried to. The man went on. I tell you, that day it felt like I was under anesthesia, numb but still awake. Could not believe it. And I went back home in a day. I don't know how I found out myself at home, but I remember I was out of it. And guys, when I went home, I just let it out. I went on the ground on my knees and just started crying out to God. I said, God, really? Why? I said, God, just let her stop, let her stop, let her stop, let her stop. Man, how I'm praying now is not how I used to pray then. It's just that I'm crying out, going on my knees. Just that's all I knew what to do. How best to do it. Just cry out to God. I remember one day she called me. She has this thing, she constantly calling, even though she's so annoying with it, just calling, and she know she don't mean well. She calling, but she calling to check up. So she calls her, so let me answer her. So I not answer her. Oh, what? I long to see you. I said, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing to me. And I'm telling you, people, I could feel the energy over the phone, like she frightened. So at the time she was working, she was in a good health, everything. And from I said that to her, I know what you're doing. I never tell her exactly what you know. I know what you're doing to me. She hung up. So yeah, man, I catch her. She called back in the night. So apparently because she was at work, she couldn't get to act out how she wanted. Call back and she left a voice message. Anyway, yes, anyway, yeah, go. So she thinking that I definitely went out and find out whatever. Anyway, yeah, go. All them book the way I read, because I always reading books about you know, spiritual warfare, because I was led to those books. I didn't understand what I, not saying I wasn't understand what I was reading, but to the full extent. Yeah. And she upset when she used to see me with those stuff. And she just started running, and she started calling my father, "You dirty pooper. I tell you this and I tell you that." And after that, guys, I just started hearing that she started getting sick because it's a conscience. She started getting sick, and the other daughter carry her go all kind of specialists. I'm tell you, this woman is healthy, healthy, healthy. Every test that they ran came back negative. The doctor says she's healthy, but you know that something is bothering her. And one day, the daughter reached out to me, and she's like, I could hear the tears in her voice, because like, she said, "Stacy, you know, it's like, it seems like she's on her last, and she's crying out for you to come, and she guess she want to see you or whatever." So I'm saying, maybe to make peace, because remember, you know, it's when your heart too good, people, it will cost you. Yeah, cost you your life if you're not careful. And I said, all right, just for the sake of her, because man, you know, at that time I was still keeping this woman's secret. It was just like the time, just me, she, and God, and maybe I tell one or two friends. Eventually, I told my father. I said, let me go. So when I went there, when they this time they moved to Portmore, I bought a house and lived in Portmore. And I went there to visit, and they said she said she wasn't eating. I went to Price Mart, was it? Yeah, I remember I went to Price Mart, and I bought some, it was Ensure, like a case, so you know, a liquid supplements and all that. And I took it over there. And what we, you know, 2025, this was about maybe 12 years ago. 11, 12 years ago, because you know, when I found out at the time, yeah, 12 years ago. And then it's like within a year and a half to two, she started getting ill. And I sense it was death that was coming, because not like I saw it directly, but I just sensed it, like God was going to take her. You know what I did? Went and asked God to give her a chance. Mind you, remember I said I'm an intercessor, so I didn't know that I was really literally interceding on her behalf to give her another chance, and He did that. And tell you people, it was like a death sentence to me. God forbid, but no, couldn't take my life. But I only asked God basically to give her time, but taught me more. I'm telling you, I tell you, the woman just got more evil and more evil, more evil. It's like she rising higher and higher and higher and higher. Over a decade, can you imagine? I said to the daughter, I said I wanted to speak to her privately, which I shouldn't have done that. But then again, what she had said to me, I know she wouldn't have said it to her in her presence. I went into her room. I even remember she had asked me for a picture. I have a school picture, and she had it on her dresser mirror. And I know that you know, now that I know, it's like a point of contact. Yeah, because when she even asked me, I was hesitating, should I give it to her? But like I said, I just wanted that, you know, relationship with her, that mother's love. So yeah, little naive me. So I saw the picture. Here the lady start out with the conversation, you know, me not do nothing, me not obey you. Man, you, I did not mention anything like that. At the time, I did not. And I just look at her, shake my head, and I just say, you know, I started talking to her. I said, I think you need to give your life to the Lord. And she looking at me like, why is she saying that? Because if what I got from that is like, if she know that, she know the truth, why is she talking to me like this? So your sister should not have nothing, she not have no form of love, she not know the love of Jesus. She don't gonna know how to do what the devil tell her to do. So I say, you need to hear. She's like, when my foot get better, cause what happened when I had called out to God, it was just like a little bump on our foot, you know, between where somewhere near side of our knee, and it started with a little bump and it broke out into a sore. So one at a time they were gonna amputate it. That's how bad it got. And she went down to the skin and bones. So at that time she was in her 50s. So now she's like approaching mid 50s. Yeah. So guys, I'm telling you, a young woman, and the woman looked like she almost 100. The beauty, just their fading skin and bones, like she just look, at times is the evil, you know, because beauty comes from within. Even though you may look pretty physically, but beauty really comes from, true beauty come really, it's from within. She never had that. It's like evil took her total control over her, and the woman just look awful, and it's like, oh, when my foot get better, I got you get better. Like I said, she got worse after that. The Lord been showing me a lot of things, actually doing more and more. She just, guys, I just don't even know how to describe it for you to understand this. All I can say is pure evil. I remember one time the Lord showed me a dream. She was some yard, and the yard had a lot of buckle, and I was like, you can see that wherever they're doing the witchcraft, that is where, that's what I saw. And I remember telling one of my girlfriend, she lives in England, I was telling her the dream. And she was like, Stacey, your mother not stop poke up here. I said, no, look, so. But in everything that you do, there's a time. Every evil has a time. You have to stop at some point. So now that I know, at that time, I stood in God's way. Because I learned that, and everybody can change. Unfortunately, not everyone can change. Some things requires the Lord intervention, and that means, you know, this is you too for the guidelines to be unalived. That's what I can say. That's what I learned, that don't use that word, but be unalived. And the Lord was gonna unalive her, and I begged. You understand? I stood in His way, and not just for her. And I said, Lord, let me tell you this. I know I have a good heart, because He revealed it more than one time to people that my heart is so pure. Sometimes before I even recommit, because I would say what you call very feisty. So anything come on my mouth, usually I will just tell you. But you know, still being respectful. But if once you trouble me, I just give it the length of my tongue. But you reveal to me that I have a pure heart, because I have such a sympathetic heart towards people. But this time I said, God, in any case where you're gonna do your will, I will not, never ever stand in your way again, because I had to pay for it. Can you imagine a decade more of turmoil and chaos and attacks? Jesus. Is when I got to the States, people, it got worse. It got worse. But it birthed the woman that I am now, because I'm telling you, see how I look polished and soft? Remember me telling man, when I was going to warfare and getting deep and start speaking the words of God and start get worse, when I get angry and start pray and bawl out to God, immediate answer. Yeah. But because she gave birth to me. So you see that umbilical cord, even though you cut the umbilical cord from birth, it still lingers in the spirit. So when I'm praying, I have to pray. I say, God, cut the umbilical cord, remove that bloodline out of my blood, replace it with your blood, replace the blood inside my body with your blood that you shed on Calvary. That's how I have to pray. You understand, people? How I have to pray to keep myself alive. So the altar is still speaking, because is this year? Yeah, this year I found out that she's a high-ranking witch. So that means that she's going higher, and I'm her ultimate sacrifice. You understand? So God forbid, thank God He has His hands on me, because she wants that. She wants me to be alive for sacrifice to get stronger. You crazy? It's not gonna happen. And the best thing to do is to give her life to God. And if she don't want to, she's going straight down there with our master. When the time is right, cause that it's up on her right now. Yeah, so that's what I'm dealing with. It's not easy. It is not easy. Not easy, people. But I can tell you, so there is a God. So if I have any doubt, there's not a God, there is a God. It has not been easy because He put me through the fire, but He had to do that. For it was necessary for me to birth. So my purpose is to help others going through this, because if I didn't go through it, how am I going to help you? What am I going to tell you guys? What? No, there's nothing there. How am I going to glorify God? There's no story there. Yes, you carry me through, you provide for me no matter what, but no, my true purpose is to bring people out of darkness. You understand? To intercede for them, because I'm telling you, powers of darkness I'm coming across. And that's why I said, if she wasn't successful in killing me, who is gonna do that? Unaliving me, sorry. Who is gonna do that? No one. Because if God say you have to come and do my work, you have to. So she's wasting her time. And it's sad to say that's the side she chose, but hey, to each his own. Because people feel like, say, is God send people to hell? No. You determine where you go. He gives you free will. He has the power to change you, but you have to want that for yourself. So if that's not what she wants, I can't help her. I beg God for me to change. So now I say, remove. Please just remove. Immediate effect, remove. But He does things on His time because He's God. So let Him do His work. But meantime, I'm still on the battlefield, still, in warfare, still doing what I need to do. So I'm gonna close with this now. So after that, I left the house. I was supposed to go back, and she's calling me. You coming to look? People, like I said, I live in Portmore. I was living in off Malines Road at the time, and to go over there, I would have to take a cab, and that would have cost like $1,500. I remember I called the company that day, that Sunday. I called the company to go over. So I have a friend that was living in a high school friend living in the States. So they said we're gonna, link up. She was visiting Jamaica. We're gonna link up for a drink. So she grew up near in that area, so it's close to her. So the plan was for me to go by the lady, and she would pick me up from there, and we head into Kingston to go and have, a little drink and catch up. The girl sitting down over there waiting. All me I call the cab. No cab to pick me up to drop me over Portmore. And that's like a good money. Like I said, $1,500 at that time. Nobody. She called me and she said, Stacey, listen, it don't make no sense to come again because this not gonna work out. I'm just gonna head over there and we'll meet up there at, I think it was at Terra Nova. Sorry, no problem. People, tell me now, why has I decided that's what I'm gonna do when I call the cab, right? To go to Terra Nova. I think if I can recall, it was like maybe $250. And this is Jamaican dollar, so it doesn't have it's not like US, it doesn't have much value. The first call, someone answered. So I see it was God preventing me not to go back over there. Yeah. And that was the last time I saw them. A little over 10 years ago. Yeah. To this day. To this day. I remember she had asked me, so where you live now? And I told her the area that I live in. And guys, if you don't even tell her the exact address, and this is why I said monitoring spirits. Anytime you dream see somebody peeping or looking, that's a monitoring spirit. And she sent back the same monitoring spirit. I remember the window, and I see the, I was like, oh my God, when I see it, because I started realize, because I see the pattern. Because one thing, I pay attention to my life, what's going on. I pay attention to my body and everything, so I know. And from I saw that man, I said, shoot my mouth, and you open your mouth. All it's just the area that I was living in. It was Tree Oak Gardens. The area, that's all I mentioned, which was off my lines over there. So that's all I mentioned, and they found me. But I'm telling you, there's levels to this spirituality. So she found me, and that was it. So I'm gonna end the video here because I have to edit it, because you know the phone was giving me a lot of problems. I pray to God it goes through. That the devil is not gonna win. The devil is a liar, not winning this battle tonight. So guys, I would say maybe the final segment, where I'm gonna tell you how I ended up coming to the States, and in the States now to what's going on now. So for him to Lord to do what he's doing, I don't know how he's doing it, but I'm sensing what's gonna happen now when I started telling the story. So the next segment is like when it's time to leave Jamaica to come in here now. Yeah, and how I got my deliverance. All right, guys, so this is where I end. So see you next video. Shalom, shalom.